Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Welcome to the August 26, 2024 City of Burlingame Planning Commission meeting. For all in attendance today, please note that this Planning Commission meeting is being held in person and using the Zoom webinar format. Please note that we are not accepting remote public comment during commission meetings. We ask that the public either attend the meetings in person or comment or send an email to publiccomment@burlingame.org. Staff will be monitoring emails submitted during the meeting, which will be read at the appropriate time. Agenda item number 2, roll call. The record should note that all 7 members of the commission are present this evening. Agenda item number 3, request for AB 2249 remote participation. We have nobody participating remotely this evening. Number 4, approval of minutes. We have meeting minutes to approve from August 12th, 2024 regular planning commission meeting. Do we have any comments, changes, or motions?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 12th.
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Camerado, seconded by Commissioner Schmidt. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camerado,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0-0-0. Agenda item number 5, approval of the agenda. Staff, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
Do we have any recusals?
I'm going to be recusing from item 10A since I live 500 feet from the property.
Noted.
I'll also be recusing from 10A because Patient Turnbull did a historic report on that.
Got it. Anybody else? All good. Agenda item number 6, public comments non-agenda. Members of the public may speak about any item not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for future planning commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph Brown Act, the state local agency open meeting law, prohibits the planning commission from acting on any matter that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Do we have any members of the public this evening who wish to speak on any item that is not on our agenda? And do we receive any public comment emails?
We did not.
So moving on to the next item, agenda item number 7, study items. There were none this evening. Agenda item number 8, consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine. They are acted on simultaneously unless separate discussion and/or action is requested by the applicant, a member of the public, or a commissioner prior to the time of the commission votes on the motion to adopt. This evening, we have one item on the consent calendar, item 8A 2116 Broadway. Would any members of the public or planning commission like to pull this item for discussion? Okay, seeing none. Do we have any comments or any motions?
I'll make a comment.
Okay, Commissioner Pfaff.
I think it's beautiful. Appreciate the change on the door to make it more in keeping with the style they're going. And I'd like to make a motion to, oh no, I don't have to because do I? Oh, okay.
Motion.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Pfaff, seconded by Commissioner Say. Can we have any discussion on the motion? Nope. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camerado,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
and Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0-0-0. Congratulations. Agenda item number 9, regular action items. Agenda item number 9A, 1588 Columbus Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so we may be prepared at the appropriate time. If possible, we ask that you also turn on your video at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communication regarding this project? Okay, no recusals either. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an application for an amendment to a design review for proposed changes to a previously approved first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling at 1588 Columbus Avenue, zoned R1. This application was approved by the Planning Commission on July 10th, 2023. A building permit was issued on October 31st, 2023, and the project is currently under construction. The applicant is requesting exterior modifications to the approved design review project. These include changes to the exterior stucco, change to the style and material of the garage door, and an increase to the size of the front door. This project first appeared before you, this amendment request, on July 8th, 2024. The Planning Commission reviewed the proposed changes and did express several concerns with the request and asked that the item be continued. The applicant has submitted revised plans and a response letter dated July 8th, in response to the July 8th comments in their letter of explanation and plans dated July 24th, 2024. Those are attached to the staff report this evening, and that concludes my presentation. I'll let the applicant respond to any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for staff? Okay, then I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project?
Just give us a minute. We're bringing them in.
Hello, planning commissioners.
Hi, James, we hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So I wasn't at the last planning commission meeting, but I saw the video, and so I understood what went on, and so I helped the applicant, the homeowner, look into different stucco pattern, if you will, and after reviewing several patterns and understanding the application, they still decided they wanted to do smooth stucco. So with that change, we decided to add the wooden trim around on top of the windows and doors, so the appearance of the exterior will look consistent throughout, and also recess the front door like you suggest. And quite frankly, that we felt, it doesn't really change the design much since we now added the trim. We just really hope you like the change and improve the project so they can move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Do we have any members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on this item, or do we receive any public comment emails?
We do have one public comment email, so I'll go ahead and read that into the record. This is from Lynn Israelite. Hello, Commissioners. I am unable to attend the meeting in person this evening, but would like to comment on the project at 1588 Columbus Avenue. I'm a resident on Columbus, and I'm very pleased overall with this project. I think it's a beautiful addition to the neighborhood. I appreciate that you've requested the owners retain the 6-inch setbacks for the front door in order to give more detail to the front of the house. I would, however, like to request that the stucco facade remain textured on this home as opposed to the new request for smooth stucco. Every other home on the street has textured stucco and would be more in keeping with all of the other older homes in the neighborhood aesthetically. I appreciate your consideration. And that was the only public comment email we received.
Great. Thank you. And I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, do we have any comments or motions?
So I do have a comment then I also was going to make a comment about the stucco. I do appreciate, James, that you made an effort to try to at least get some kind of texture in there. I don't know kind of purview we have. I otherwise like the design. I do agree with, think this was a comment from a few of us. And I don't know, I'm not going to hold it up because of it, but I think it's a loss because I think the reason these were textured, these revivals, it's to show a presence that goes with that style. It shows that it's a perceived thickness of a wall that you get from a pattern, something with texture rather than something completely smooth, which is a very modern finish. So I think it's a shame, but I do appreciate you, James, making an effort to convey something like that.
Any other comments?
I'll just second that basically, or third, depending, but yeah, I am not 100% on board with the smooth. I think any texture would be better than no texture for this specific building in this specific neighborhood. That's the only hang up I have. Everything else has been improvements pretty much every time they've taken it to us, so.
I understand the comments, but I think with the addition of the wood over the windows, I think on balance, it's still a really nice project. And I understand the smooth stucco from a practicality standpoint, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I tend to agree a little bit more with Commissioner Horan. I mean, as a contractor, I know that the wave stucco is a nightmare to try to match if you ever have to replace a window or do something like that. And quite frankly, in the neighborhood, which I actually live in the neighborhood as well, but there's some quite modern houses that have been built in that neighborhood, as many people know. So I find it hard to restrict someone from going to especially a revival type home, not a complete tear down. So I'd be inclined to approve this. Commissioner Fay?
Yeah, I agree with what Chair Lowenthal. I think that also there are a lot of fine details in the design of this home that bring out a lot of the historic and architecturally true details for the style of the home. And I think that there's some nice balance and textural interests with some of the details. I think there's been some good effort here to try to come halfway to what we've been asking for. I too feel like, and have had a number of projects where it's been difficult for people and later on to make a change to window openings or doors and trying to repair, do some work. Once there is a stucco, once there is a texture on the stucco, and making it difficult to match and making it even more obvious that there was some patching work completed. So I too am also inclined to let them move forward with the smooth stucco finish. I don't know if there's any other comments. If not, I would like to move that we approve this project as per the conditions of the staff report.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, great. We have a motion by Commissioner Say, seconded by Commissioner Camarado. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Camarado,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Abstain.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
and Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. And pass it 6010?
6-1.
6100. Okay, 6100. Congratulations. An action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day. The action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an appeal fee of $900, which includes noticing costs. Thank you very much. Next up, item 9B, 1025 and 1029 Cappuccino Avenue. If you are the applicant and are attending the meeting via Zoom, please raise your hand so that we may be prepared for you to speak at the appropriate time. If possible, we also ask that you turn your video on at that time. Were any commissioners not able to visit this project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications? Seeing none, let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear the staff report, please?
Yes, this is an application for design review, front setback variances, minor modification for parking space width, and recommendation for a tentative condominium map for 2 new 2-story detached residential condominium units on each of the 2 existing lots. So the proposal is for a total of 4 units, 2 units on each lot. The project site on Cappuccino Avenue consists of 2 legally subdivided lots that are rectangular in shape. There are several structures on the existing site, including 2 single-unit dwellings, a detached garage, and a shed. There is an existing underground culvert that runs across the site, extending from the front left corner of 1025 Cappuccino Avenue to the rear right corner of 1029 Cappuccino Avenue. The Public Works Division's regulations do not allow any permanent structures to be built over the culvert or an easement. The applicant proposes to demolish all existing structures on the site and build 2 new detached condominium units on each of the 2 lots. There are 2 driveway entrances proposed, one along the right side of 1029 Cappuccino Avenue that leads to the attached garage for the front unit, and a second shared driveway entrance located between the 2 lots. The entrance leads to this entrance leads to 2 adjacent 9-foot 6-inch wide driveways. These will be independent driveways, and there are no cross-access easements proposed with the project. The new residential units would each contain 4 bedrooms. Each unit requires 1 covered space and 1 uncovered space, for a total requirement of 2 covered spaces and 2 uncovered spaces on each lot. There are 2 covered and 3 uncovered spaces provided at 1025-1027 Cappuccino Avenue, and there are 3 covered and 4 uncovered spaces provided at 1029 and 1031 Cappuccino Avenue. The proposed project complies with the minimum off-street parking requirements. In summary, the applicant is requesting the following applications this evening. So design review for all of the structures, front setback variances. So at 1029 Cappuccino Avenue, the front setback variance request is for 15 feet to the first floor and 17 feet to the second floor, where 34 feet 11 inches is the minimum required. And that's based on the average setback of a block on this side of the street. For 1025 Cappuccino Avenue, the proposed front setback is 32 feet 7 inches. Again, where 34 feet 11 inches is the minimum required. So variance is required in that case. There's also a request for a minor modification for the parking space width for the front unit at 1029 Cappuccino Avenue. 9 feet proposed, where 10 feet is the minimum required. And just to clarify, we're measuring the 9 feet. There's an interior step in that garage. The code says that 10 feet is the minimum clear requirement. So there is a step that goes from the garage into the house, and that encroaches into that clear space. And then lastly, there's a recommendation for the tentative condominium map to City Council, if that's where we end up at the end of the discussion. At the Planning Commission Design Review Study meeting on January 8th, the commission had several questions and suggestions regarding this project. The applicant submitted a response letter dated April 19th and revised plans and renderings, dates stamped July 25th, to address your suggestions and comments. Suggested findings for design reviews, front setback variances, minor modification are found in your staff report. I'd be happy to take questions of staff, or otherwise you can ask the applicant for specific questions about the project. Thank you.
I had a quick question, Ruben. So the setback, front setback is a block average,
Correct.
and it takes every house into consideration?
No, well, so let me clarify. So in how we calculate the front setback is we do not include the corner lots because sometimes those are built differently. And then we also take out the highest setback and the lowest setback.
Oh, you do take those out?
We do, yeah. But still, in this case, it's 34 feet 11 inches, given all those.
Interesting. Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay. I am then going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Greg Kawahara, the architect for the project. I'd like to start by thanking the Public Works and Planning staff for all their guidance and help in getting us here tonight. Following the study session that we had some months ago, we provided the additional exhibits that were requested, and made changes to the landscape plans, the building plans, and the elevations as well. And those were all summarized in the staff report. And with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Do we have questions for the applicant? Commissioner Pfaff?
Actually, I'm gonna let you go. because
Commissioner Schmidt?
Okay.
I have the same.
I got questions about the windows.
Okay.
It's not clear to me whether you're doing casement windows, double hung windows, how the windows open or not. They could all be fixed for all I know, except there's only a couple of them that actually show swings. So can you clarify that a little bit more? Because a lot of them look like they're double hung, but they don't have posts between them. And I've never seen a double hung next to a double hung without a post in between. So,
Well, you can get those molded together by the manufacturer, two hung windows
okay.
and together. That's available. Like, it's pretty common. Milgard, Anderson, Pella, as far as I know, they all provide that option. In terms of the windows, that they look like they're fixed, some of them may be fixed, but of course, if they're in living spaces, living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, they would be casements in those cases.
Okay.
Commissioner Pfaff?
I have also a window question, but about the dimensions. So for example, let's take the address is 1029. So it's page A 3.3. I'm imagining it's the staircase window, the really long one.
Mm-hmm.
I asked about that before and it's still long. And so I was wondering, is there a particular reason why it needs to be quite that long? It makes light pollution as we're all trying to cut down on light pollution, and this big stairwell windows are sometimes just, it just seems larger than sample when its neighbor.
Yeah, so there it's a very tall wall. And so the intention is not light pollution, obviously, it's to provide or to not have a large amount of solid wall along that side of the house there. Of course, there'll be some landscaping screening that, but we could easily,
Long time,
I'm sorry?
not for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the landscaping needs to mature to provide that screening.
I also have on the same page,
Mhm.
very small window on that address is, well, I guess it's the address, the north elevation of the same home, 1029. There's so you have the little porch and you have the garage, and then you have the main gable yes, it appears to me, and I'm usually one to make comments about over large windows, but this to me looks very small. So I just wanted to know if there was a reason.
So for clarification, is that on the north elevation
It's north.
or the front porch? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember, I think, is there a bathroom on the plan that corresponds with that?
The bathroom window.
Or perhaps a closet?
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so we want a high windowsill because of
Yep.
privacy
Thank you.
street at that location.
Those are my questions.
Okay.
I had a question. Is the underground culvert existing?
Yes, it is.
Is there any work being proposed to it?
There is a condition of Public Works to do some minor patching.
Patching.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay. Do we have any members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on this item, or did we receive any public comment emails?
So I did want to just acknowledge that we did receive an email from Susan Button. There was no correspondence in the email, but she included an attachment. Unfortunately, that attachment was in a format that's not readable, like we couldn't open up the attachment. We replied to her email earlier this afternoon, but did not hear back from her. But I wanted to acknowledge that we did receive an attempt.
Okay. Well, this is a design review, so this should be another opportunity.
This is actually back for regular action, so,
Regular.
yeah. Mhm.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Okay. All good? I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Any commissioners have any comments and or motions?
I think that a couple of the, as we discussed, the long window on the stairway, and there's some belly bands that are missing between the rendering versus the elevation. The belly bands add, so I would make sure that as you go in for a permit, that those get back in there. I think that the stairway wall could be shortened and belly band across it to then not make it such a large, you're worried about the elevation getting larger, which I get, but you're using that vocabulary already to break up the first and second floors. And I think it's an appropriate one for that location.
Any other comments? My personal feeling is that it's a nice looking project. It's definitely missing a few things, as Commissioner Schmidt said, but I think those can be somewhat clerical. I think compared to what it currently is, it's a vast improvement, offers nice housing. I was more concerned about what the public might think, but there wasn't much comment. So I'm pretty much in favor of this project.
I think I think one thing that we hear a lot of times when we do these condominiums and suddenly it's 4, not 2, is the parking. And I think that they've made a good effort to create enough off-street parking where it didn't impact the neighborhood in a more negative way than some of the other projects that we've seen. So I appreciate what you've done to not make the neighborhood worse in relationship to that. So
I agree.
Can I, one thing, I keep on looking at this little window. Is it, I mean, it's over a bathtub. One is kind of not over the bathtub. It's next to the sink and the other is over a bathtub. I actually have something very similar in our bathroom and I have 3 small windows just like that, but there are 3 in a shed roof and it doesn't look bad. I think that doesn't look good. And I'm trying to think, we're not supposed to think of designs for you, but maybe there is maybe there's a way to put a second one next to it, the same size. It's just over the bathtub and it's high enough that, I mean, ours are the same way in my house. Nobody sees anything. It's so high. I just think this looks like too much wall compared to that little tiny window and it's facing the street. It's pretty important face. So I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that, but I don't know what,
no, fair.
I agree.
I don't know what could be done with that, but that it's an important face. If it were just facing inward, I don't think it'd be such a big deal, but it's kind of the welcome to the project house. So I think it needs to be as good as it can be.
And it is right in that setback for the variance. So
Right?
it is right in that setback that they're asking for variance, but to make sure that looks
That's right.
decent. Do we want to open the public hearing? Do you want to comment real quick? If I open the public hearing again, if you'd be willing to add that window above the tub
Or something.
or something similar,
Or we just make it a condition.
Yeah, just make the same window larger.
Yeah.
Looks like that specific window doesn't look over the toilet or tub,
Mhm.
sure.
either way.
Well, should we ask them if it'd be okay to do as a condition? I mean,
I think the rendering also doesn't match the elevation in terms of the
I would-
placement of the window, the size of it in relationship to the roof that's over it. It looks more balanced, the elevation, not so much in the rendering. So,
3-3.
although I agree with Commissioner Foff.
Yeah. Open, you want to open?
Another window.
I'm going to open the public hearing.
Other window.
So
Okay, thank
come
you.
on forward.
Yeah, we can certainly add a window over that bathtub, which would provide a decent amount of wall between the one shown and to the right of it, you've seen from the street. We could add another one similar size. Thank you.
So you don't mind us using that as a condition of approval?
No.
Any other questions for the applicant or any other notes?
And shortening that stairway windows, are you, is that? for
I think Commissioner Schmidt had
Oh, yes.
suggested adding a belly band, so if,
Oh.
Is it both? Is it one or the other?
Well, the idea was shortening the window so it's
Right.
not as much light coming out.
Okay,
But I understood your comment coming back saying, well, made it larger so that the elevation
Less
is
blank wall, right?
dull. So I'm giving you a way to make the elevation less dull and the window smaller.
Okay.
Okay. Any other members of the public wish to comment? I assume no last minute emails. Okay, then I'll close the public hearing again.
Okay.
And do we have a long-winded motion?
Well, I'm going to do it then.
Okay.
I'll try. Because there's variances involved.
Yes.
So maybe you do it.
Commissioner Schmidt, sorry if we can also include the recommendation of the tentative map to council. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for design review with the two conditions that we discussed, making the two windows on the 1029 elevation facing out onto Cappuccino, as well as the shortening of the window facing, the stair window facing the middle with the belly band. I would also include the front setback variances. And then the minor modification for the parking space width. And we want to stop there and do the
You can,
condo map separately.
you can include that in the same
Okay.
motion.
Then, and include the recommendation to city council for the tentative map for the condominium.
Perfect.
Nice.
Second that.
Takes easy street. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, seconded by Commissioner Horan. Any other discussion on the motion? No, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camarado,
Aye.
Commissioner Foff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0-0-0. An action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council within 10 days of the Planning Commission's action. If the Planning Commission's action has not been appealed or called up for review by the City Council by 5 p.m. on the 10th day, the action becomes final. In order to be effective, appeals must be in writing and must be accompanied by an fee of $900, which includes noticing costs. Congratulations. Moving on, agenda item number 10, design review study items. Item 10A is 1517 Cypress Avenue. And Commissioner Camarado and Commissioner Shores have already left. Great. Were any commissioners not able to visit the project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communications regarding this project? No. And as mentioned, Commissioner Camarado and Commissioner Shores are recusing from this item. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we hear a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an application for design review, front and side setback variances, and special permit for attached garage for first and second story addition to an existing single unit dwelling with a new attached garage at 1517 Cypress Avenue, zoned R1. Subject property is triangular lot that abuts properties that front on Carroll. The lot currently contains an existing two-story single unit dwelling with a detached one-car garage. This project consists of a first floor remodel with minor addition on the first floor and replacing and reconstructing the second floor with a new larger second floor. The project also includes demolishing the existing detached garage. It's located on the front left side at the of the property. The new attached garage would be an approximately the same footprint. The proposed floor area would increase from 2,696 square feet to 2,947 square feet, which is the maximum square footage allowed on property of this size. The existing house contains 4 bedrooms, and there would be no change to the overall bedroom count. 2 parking spaces, one of which must be covered, are required for the project, and 2 covered spaces are provided in the attached garage. Therefore, the project complies with the off-street parking requirement. Staff would note that the new attached garage requires a special permit and a front setback variance. There's a 15-foot, 1-inch front setback proposed, where the code requires a minimum of a 25-foot front setback for a 2-car garage. The attached garage also requires a left side setback variance of 4 inches proposed, where 5 feet is the minimum required. In summary, the proposed project is requesting approval for design review, front setback variance for an attached garage, left side setback variance for the attached garage, and a special permit for the new attached garage. In the staff report, we've provided the required findings for design review, variance, and special permits for your reference this evening. The applicant is here, but I'd be happy to answer any questions from staff.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of staff? No. Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you'd like to add about the project?
Hi, commissioners. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I'm Rupa. This is my husband Samir. We're the homeowners. This is our architect Judith. Currently, we're a family of 4. We have 2 boys and 2 rescue dogs. Our house is actually a 3-bedroom, 2-bath currently, and we're hoping to expand it to a 4-bed, 3-bath. We're not planning to do a lot on the first floor. The second floor is currently more of an attic space with a bedroom. We are hoping to make that a normal second story with bedrooms and bathrooms for the family. I think it's a 1.5 size garage. It's a little bit wider than a 1 right now. Because of the triangle shape of the lot, that is why we are hoping that it can become a 2-car garage, and it needs to be attached. Most of the other houses on our street have a 2-car garage, but it's a typical rectangular lot with a long driveway and 2 garages in the back. We cannot do that with our space. Thus the request for the variance and the special permit. It's a mismatch. If you've seen the house, it's sort of a bunch of different styles right now. We are hoping to unify the style, and we like Mediterranean. So that was the one we picked, which is some of what the current style is, and we'd like to unify it. Did I miss anything?
We plan to install electric
Oh,
charging
yes.
stations in the garage, so for environmental, and for the benefit of the neighborhood.
Yeah, and the other reason is we live very close to Burlingame Ave, so a lot of cars park on our street. We have 2-hour parking on our street, and so we'd really like to have the 2-car garage, which we think would be a benefit to the community because it would allow for other cars to park on our street. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Commissioner Pfaff?
We were just talking about the stucco.
Oh,
Now I'm curious.
okay.
You have another one of these beautiful old homes with the stucco, maybe not quite as wavy as the one we were talking about before, but what were you, I didn't find anything indicating what your plan was.
A really good question.
I don't think
I
we got
definitely
that.
would have come down on the smooth side. Just gonna put that out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is stucco right now. We haven't gone that far because we're still in the design review process. Yeah, I think we would have also hoped for smooth, but something similar to what it is now would be fine, I think.
Or something in between. I
Yeah.
don't build, so I don't know all of the options.
Yeah.
I feel like there is, I know the wavy that everyone is talking about, that is hard, really hard. But maybe there is something that's kind of not quite smooth, but something in between that I don't know, that will just look like it has some presence.
Yeah.
This is a house that had presence, and I feel like as soon as you make it smooth, you've diminished its presence in some way. I'm coming more from the historical side, and that is just my opinion, but it's just putting it out there.
Okay.
And we're not talking about the pebble dash, really rough finish. You're just looking for texture. Is that
Well,
clear?
I don't know at what point in time this very, very smooth stucco happened. I'm not a big fan, but I'm not allowed to say my opinion about this or that. It looks fine on really modern things, but there was a time in the 40s, 50s that stucco was just, it wasn't completely smooth. It had a texture, and it wasn't this wavy stuff either. But it had a presence. The very, very smooth stuff to me just is not worthy of the home, I feel.
I think, I mean, in going with the Spanish style, like a little bit of texture would be on the stucco makes sense. So we would, I don't know. Yeah.
Sure, I think
So-
so. I don't think the pebble dash finish is
Yeah.
appropriate.
I'm not really sure
That's
that,
all I'm trying to clarify.
I don't really know what we call it, slap and drag, which is it's
The
it's
trout.
not a real word. I just use it because some of them are very dramatic.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. Maybe that's the word you're using, but just something with a little, that has some character to it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all.
That's good.
That, I mean, it was just my question, what your intent was, because I just didn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Per se?
Are you done with your question?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a few questions. Just one, what is the second floor plate height?
8 feet.
It is 8 feet. I don't know why I can't see it anywhere. I couldn't scale it to 8 feet.
Oh,
Just wondering. Okay.
we had added a few dimensions.
Okay.
Catherine, oh no, I thought that was a question, but that is
8 feet?
Yeah.
It is on sheet A204.
Oh, the last sheet.
two. Yeah. On the far left, yeah.
Okay, then on the rear elevation, what are the sill of the windows in is it the primary bedroom that has the bay window?
I think those are about 30 inch, the 5-foot window.
Okay, with a 12-inch header, that's like a 24-inch sill then? It's a 5-foot window?
Oh, God.
5-foot window with a 12-foot header, so that would give you a 24.
Oh, yeah,
Bill.
it's more like 20 inch. You're right. Yeah, like 20.
Okay. And then, is there anywhere that you have noted a trim detail on the windows? Reason I'm asking, elevations from sheet to sheet, some of the window trim or casing is thicker than others. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a shadow effect or.
No, you're right. You're right. There's some consistencies. I think, our goal was to have not a lot of trim because again, the Mediterranean, you would normally see the sheetrock a stucco return, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2x4 walls we're working with, so I don't really know if we're going to be able to get that to do so well. Depends on the window we pick. If we go with the JELD-WEN window, we can get a very narrow window thickness, and then we could get that look. So in an ideal world, that's kind of we haven't really talked about it, but that's sort of what I'm going for there.
Okay, maybe in the next go around, you could provide us a little bit more
Okay.
detail on that. So it can be a close-up detail or something. That's oftentimes we ask for that in the drawing set. And then can you explain if there's any particular reasoning between some areas, the windows are molded together and some areas, the windows are separated?
No?
Mhm.
For example, if you look at the rear elevation.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah, like bedroom. Bedroom could definitely be molded together. That might be a nice way to do it. There may have been a reason for that, but I certainly don't know. Yeah, in the back, that would make sense, and it would be more consistent if we mold those together, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then even on the front, there's one set that's separated where the others are molded together. Just curious if there was a deliberate reason for that or.
Oh, well, on the front, the ones, the kind of first floor ones that are separate are existing windows. We're replacing in kind.
Mm.
They are that way now. So,
Because on your existing elevations, they look like they're molded together,
yeah, on the existing,
maybe with the trim
got
detail.
bigger trim around them, and I think that's the difference.
But you could still take the same openings. If that is one opening, you could take that same opening unless there are posts or something in between the windows.
But you could
You know.
do a metal trim in between and make it look like they're.
Yeah, you can even add trim.
I think
in the middle,
Yeah.
fill it in and make it look like a collective whole.
Yeah, your point is well taken, which to look at molding together.
Okay, those are my questions.
Not hitting our wall framing limits too, with that. That was another,
I'm sorry?
didn't touch it.
Oh, the demolition calculations, if you go over 50% of the exterior wall removal, then you could trigger substantial construction would be considered new construction and have to comply with a lot more code regulations under planning and building.
But you could keep the post and the opening for the window, and it's a finished piece on the outside that is going to match the color of your windows, and it's going to make it look like it's a bigger contiguous window system rather than 3 individual windows.
Mm-hmm.
You're just eliminating the white space.
Mm-hmm. But then that would be trimmed and everything else would not be.
It would just be wider in between 3 windows, and you might actually look at that for some of the others, because as I actually really do like the project, but as you go with a smoother stucco, and as you saw with the last one that we had conversations with, well, he went back and added more header trims and things
Mm-hmm.
to elaborate the detail of the house to then offset what he was losing in texture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we go with these modern Mediterraneans and we go smooth stucco square corners, it looks too perfect. And then we lose, and if we then don't do any trims, it just becomes a modern box of no interest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's opportunity to leverage space between the windows to create the illusion of trim, even if you're not doing real trim everywhere.
Okay.
And I wouldn't undersize the windows to get more glass, because I think that also helps when you're not doing a trim. Having some window size helps bring some definition to those walls too.
Okay.
Sorry, that wasn't a question.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
I just had a quick question. The front porch, I guess the landing looks about 2 feet. Is that correct? Maybe, yeah. It's not labeled, so I was wondering if you knew that dimension.
This
Looks pretty high.
Is that here? 2
I
feet?
thought it
2'4".
was deeper than,
Does it say 2 foot?
Oh, the depth.
2'8". That one, okay.
I think we would want it to be deeper than,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's like just a step right now. So, yeah, we'll,
could be-
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Deeper than
I think it'd be nice. You'd
Yeah.
probably like it to be at
Neat
least a 3,
that.
maybe even
Yeah.
4 feet.
Yeah.
And then my only other question was regarding lighting. You probably haven't gotten too far down that road, but it looks like you have a couple surface mount fixtures next to the door. Are you thinking of doing anything proud of the archway or on the garage?
Well, I think we would, at the garage, like to have some nice looking lanterns on the sides of the doors, and yeah, it kind of, yeah, it would be nice to have them on the face of the front porch. Yeah, again,
Sure.
we could do maybe something inside.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, just be cognizant of the Burlingame Code of Lighting, it has to have,
Yeah.
Downward effect, not an upward.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
with you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Do we have any members of the public attending in person who wish to speak on this item, or did we receive any public comment emails?
No public comment emails, and no one else is in the audience.
No public. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, do we have any comments?
Yeah, I like the project. I like the direction it's going. I think the way the second floor is set back is nice. I think it's okay that it's an attached garage. I'm not usually a fan, but this lot is pretty restrictive, and I do buy the benefit to the community of getting cars off the street. And I agree with my fellow commissioners' design comments, so looks good.
I would like to also say, I agree with all the comments from everyone. And in particular, I think it could benefit from some detailing. I'm noticing the garage looks real plain. People do creative things with wrought iron, and just, it needs some things on it, I think, to kind of add value. And the comments about the windows were, I think, really helpful. So.
Yeah, I second and third my fellow commissioners' comments. I think the added ornamentation could be really nice too over the garage or maybe under the gable of the garage roof. In addition to what Commissioner Pfaff just mentioned, maybe over the front door, portico. What else was I gonna say? I think that, the handling of the two-car attached garage is, nicely done. Looks almost like a separate structure. It's very similar obviously in location to the current garage. It does provide the two covered required parking spaces, and, I think it's handled very nicely. Can definitely understand, the request for it, considering the shape of the lot, and the restrictions that you have there. I feel like the rear elevation has a lot of windows, and the backyard, I think there's a couple of neighbors that property looks out onto, and just wondering, about just being, I know there are bedroom windows and bathroom windows, but just kind of being cognizant as well for your own privacy, for the applicant's own privacy. The bedroom with the bay window, I think it's a primary bedroom. With that taller windowsill, I wonder if maybe some consideration for raising that sill height just to reduce the amount of glass maybe on that backside. And then considering, as we've already suggested, some of the mulling together of the windows to create a little bit more of a common or cohesive look on the back, as we see a variety. And I think I'd appreciate also the clarity on how the trim or how the stucco is going to die into the windows, a little detail in the follow-on section, and just clarifying where, just cleaning up the elevations to reflect how the window trims or casing or lack thereof will look consistently across all the elevations. But otherwise, I think a very nicely designed house. I like how the second floor is kind of nestled in, as the applicant was saying, kind of into the existing attic space. It's nice massing and very nice handling and style of the home. So I can see support moving this project forward.
Yeah, I'll go. I like this project a lot too, and I think that unlike many or several of the second story additions we've been seeing lately where they're not actually, they're just sticking it on top. I think that this one actually has done a good job to integrate the second level to look like it was part of the house to begin with. So it doesn't look like a poorly done second floor addition. I think that some of the things that we've heard tonight, I think there's some opportunity. I think the lighting is something you want to try and get in for the next time, because I think that will add a little extra detail to the garage. I think you have an opportunity to maybe hang a cast iron light in the entry area, which might actually, help tie the railing together and just a little bit more details there, which I think will add a lot of character. But I can fully support the attached garage, given the circumstances. I think that this is actually a really great use of what is an ugly triangular lot. I think you guys are doing, great solutions for what you've got to work with. So I'll make a motion that we bring this back on action.
I second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, second by Commissioner Fay. The only thing I would mention as a comment is there's a house that came through the Planning Commission about a year ago on Burlingame Avenue in Occidental. It's a Mediterranean, has a very smooth stucco. I personally like smooth stucco. This is all personal preference. But what they did to that house is they dressed it up and they made it look extremely, the character is exuding from it. So if you look at some of the details they've done, I think, it might satisfy some of those if you want to go smooth. But anyway, can we get a roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmid,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
and Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0-0-2. I'm sorry, 5-0-2-0. There we go. Well, welcome back, our commissioners. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time. This action is not appealable. All right, we are on to agenda item 10B, 615 Trenton Way. Were any commissioners not able to visit this project site, or do any commissioners wish to note any ex parte communication regarding this project? No, no commissioners recusing. Let the record note that all commissioners present have visited the project site. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an application for design review for a new two-story single-unit dwelling with an attached garage at 615 Trenton Way, zoned R1. The subject property is an interior lot with an existing single-story, single-unit dwelling with an attached one-car garage. The applicant proposing to demolish all structures on the site and build a new two-story, single-unit dwelling with an attached garage. Total floor area proposed would be 2,692 square feet, or 2,700 square feet is the maximum allowed. The new dwelling would contain 4 bedrooms, 2 parking spaces are required, one of which must be covered. And the proposed project does include replacing the existing garage with a new attached one-car garage, and an uncovered space would be provided in the driveway. So all on-site parking is met. Staff would note that a special permit in this case is not required for an attached garage due to the fact that the code allows replacement in kind, same footprint for an attached garage. So the applicant is just requesting design review for the new house. Staff has provided the required findings for your reference in the staff report this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? No? Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and anything else you would like to add about your project? Will the applicant please come forward and turn your video on and raise your hand if you're ready to talk about your project?
Good evening. I'm Gary Diebel, the architect. Glad to be with you tonight. This project is for a young family. They've lived in the house for over 3 years, and we started the project by looking at remodeling and adding space to the house. But the owners ultimately decided that designing and building a new house would be best for them. The neighborhood is an early ranch style development from the late 40s with long, narrow lots. These lots are compact. They're a little smaller than a lot of lots in the area. Only this lot's only 5,000 square feet. If you see the rendering of the front, the area on the first floor on the left is up to the front average block setback for this side of the street. Everything else is further back. The garage meets the requirement for front yard setback, and which is greater than other houses nearby. A lot of the houses were originally single story, horizontal. We tried to do that as well. We kept the front porch centered with the entry door facing toward the side, and the garage in a similar position. On the site plan sheet, we have elevations on the bottom that I wanted to point out. Our house is in the center with the left and right neighbors shown there also. So we wanted to show it in context just to give a sense of the height, similar scale of elements to it. We picked up on the sidings that the neighbors have. And we tried to work with the massing to break it down. I wanted to point out that there are other two-story houses across the street, one directly across, that's a Craftsman style, one to the left of that that's contemporary with a hipped roof, similar to what we're showing. And then also a more modern house with a butterfly roof further to the left. The materials that we want to use are fiber cement siding. We want to use 2 colors. And then also Sushukiban at the entrance for both the front and back to highlight those. Also want to point out that we have we provided a couple things. A neighbor's letter of supporting the project that they signed, and also product information for the sidings should be with your packets as well. I think that's all I had, but thank you for listening, and we look forward to any questions you may have and your comments.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions? Commissioner Pfaff?
Yeah, hello there. I have just a couple of questions. The first one is there a porch on page 8.202? I'm trying to understand if there's a porch on on the side.
No, there's no porch on the side.
So it's just, what is that though? Kind of extends.
Which elevation?
Well, I'm looking at 8-202, the top, well, I mean, you can see it in a few of these, but in both the lower drawing and these are renderings, but I noticed it on the drawing as well. I just can't figure out what is happening with that space between the second floor and something that overhangs, and then there's a gap.
Oh, there's a small parapet there.
Parapet.
Yeah.
So the parapet is not a porch.
No, it's just, we worked with trying to nestle the second story in and kind of step up the first story.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to, when they're on the side like that, it's a problem. And you mentioned the siding, and these are then mitered edges, you're not having corner pieces, right?
No, we're proposing mitered.
Sorry?
We're proposing mitered siding.
Mitered. Oh, yeah, great. Thank you.
Ronald
Yeah,
Field.
Okay, those were my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Camarado?
In your rear elevation, the office window that's facing the back, is there any reason why maybe you couldn't have extended that window a little bit more? And made it look like the window on the other side of the sliding glass door?
The one on the other side of their folding doors, kind of on the deck, and to the side is toward the to the right side is for the kitchen. So they have sliding windows there. Otherwise, there are casement windows, just for access between the kitchen and taking food out to the deck. But we could do something with that window. That's we could do those are casement windows. We could add another one there.
I think it'd be nice for that office to have some light from not just the corner of the house, but maybe to the backyard.
Sure.
Another window there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Say?
I wasn't sure. Gary, did you understand she was talking about the office?
Yes.
Oh, you
Mhm.
did. Okay.
Yeah, that's on the left side.
Right. I'm just wondering on the front of the house, the area over the garage door looks to be fairly tall forehead. And since you have this nice eave projections around the house, would that seem appropriate to maybe add one over the garage door, one for a little bit of weather protection, but also to kind of disguise. It makes, right now, the way it's proportioned, it makes the garage door look miniature in scale. And wondering if that added detail could help there.
Yeah, I think that that's a good suggestion. The other idea would be to make the garage door taller, but I don't know if we'd want to do that. But adding in that element, yeah, that would break it up and, yeah, would like to study that and come back to you with that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, good idea.
I have a quick question. On that garage door, the rendition on the front of on the front packet, and then the rendition on A-201 is, I think it appears different. Maybe it's just the color.
Yeah, it all comes from the same model, so all the drawings come from the same model, so it's all the same. It's just the way that it may render.
Got it.
But it's the same.
Okay, thank you.
So it's a glazed steel door.
Thank you.
My only question is in regards to the driveway, you have, it looks like gravel in between the concrete slabs, which is fine, but are you planning on having that be glued down in some fashion? And then is that different gravel that then runs down the side of the house?
We haven't really looked at that, but we can try to see what we could do, you know, to handle that issue.
The reason I say that is because I've seen, unfortunately, not doing it, and you get gravel everywhere because they're cheap.
Yeah.
The cars drive on it, skid it up, and it doesn't. After the first day, it never looks the same.
Another option could be there's different types of plants that can grow in that area too, to kind of keep it together as well.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Do we have any members of the public attending in person? Like to speak on this item? Here, anybody? No. Any emails?
Let me just check. Nope, there are no public comment emails.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, do we have any comments or motions?
I like the project. I like the elevation on A101 and the lower sheet, which compares it to its neighbors. So even though it's a very different architectural style, I think it actually relates to the neighbors to the left and right. But I like that. I like the prairie style. And I like the fact that the design doesn't require any variances or special permits. So that's clever.
I agree. I think it's nicely done. And I appreciate you looking into possible different options with that piece over the garage. I think might come up with something interesting that kind of pulls it together better. So I think it's really nicely done.
I agree. Very, I like this massing. I like the interest from side to side, like how it relates itself to its neighbors as well as to its modern neighbors across the street. In particular, I like that kind of open cutout to the right of the front door. So even though the appearance is of a really deep eave, it's actually a light well. And I think that that's really clever and brings some nice light into the space, especially with the windows there on that front elevation. So I think it's a very nice project. I think we can, I don't know if we can move it to consent. I like to, how many, yeah,
Do you want to see the garage?
which we can
eyebrow?
still do it consent, right?
That's true.
The garage and then the window maybe to the office. Just take a look at that.
Maybe we'll bring it back on action.
Yeah.
I move we bring the project back on action then.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Say, by Commissioner Schmidt. Discussion? No? Can we roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Camerado,
Aye.
Commissioner Pfaff,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Shores,
Aye.
Commissioner Say,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haran,
Aye.
and Chair Lowenthal.
Aye. And passes 7-0-0-0. This action is not appealable. Congratulations. Agenda item number 11, Commissioner reports. Any reports from the commissioners? Nope. Number 12, Director of Reports. Any director reports?
Yeah, just a few items. Let's see, from the August 19th city council meeting. No planning related items to report, but the council did appoint Stephanie Lee as the interim council member to fill in Emily Beach's opening. This will go through the election, so we do have a full council now for the next few short months, I guess. She was sworn in and was a council member that evening, so, and she did great. So let's see, I also sent out an email earlier this afternoon regarding the new CD director. One has been selected. Her name is Nada Zayer. She's currently the assistant CD director at the city of Dublin. So she'll be starting September 9th. So that is a planning commission meeting. I don't know if she'll make an appearance or not, but it might be too much for one day, but we're looking forward to meeting her and welcoming her to the Burlingame family. So, and then lastly, let's see, I put a reminder there for the commissioners dinner. Those of you that can attend, if you can RSVP, if you haven't already, by September 6th, there's a note at the bottom of that announcement on who to RSVP to. So it's at Benihana. Should be fun. That's all I had. Thank you.
Great. Number 13 is any future agenda items?
I don't know if this is possible, but we have a lot of conversations about stucco and we're not using very precise language that
Sorry.
describe it. So as a study item, can we bring in a stucco contractor or an architect to, even if they have show and tell samples or great photos, that gives us a better vocabulary on different stucco finishes?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe we can combine that with the other future agenda item in the future that we had at the last meeting. And maybe we can reach out to a few architects and see who's interested in coming and sharing that with us. So
At the one where a bunch of the house is taken apart, but it's not going through.
yeah, the exterior facades being changed. Yes,
That'd be
correct.
great.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. We'll see if someone's willing to come out and share that with us.
And I saw a lot of seconds there, so I think we're good. We saw a lot of.
A lot of what?
Head nodding.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised it's actually not in the design review handbook already, given
Yeah.
the amount of detail that is in there.
Mm.
But you're right, we are kind of missing a vocabulary, 2 or 3 styles that we could say these tend to.
Right.
And then that would give the applicant something to go back to and, you know, look at a photograph that you guys got in the office and step in the right direction.
Seems like the design guidelines were predated the smooth, I'm going to call it cake finish stucco. That's what I kind of think when I think of the very smooth, because that seems like it's probably the last 4 or 5, yes, 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
Okay, so we are adjourned at 8:13 p.m.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job. Thank you.
That was quick.
Yeah, Ruben.
Yeah, really. No.
How did you know?